talking about the flu. We're going to be talking about cancer. You're going to have an opportunity to volunteer today. So really, really great to have everybody on board. Now, in the United States, we've been dealing with an increased severity of cancer. So I want to talk to you about what you can do on your genius in order to shapeshift this, in order to work on this a little bit. That seems like a pretty urgent issue, so I want to address that. Lena, welcome. I want to warmly welcome to you. And Krista, I think you're joining us today. A warm welcome to you. Valerie M, welcome. Thank you so much. Sharon M, thank you so much for being here. Maria B, thank you, warmly welcoming you. Kendra from Colorado, welcome. Karen M with an I, Karen with an I, warmly welcoming you. Thank you so much for being here. Grace checking in from Massachusetts, sending you much love and positive energy. Really appreciate you being here. And Betty Lou, warm welcome to you. Candy is here. Carol R is here. So many great people. Christine G from Arizona is here. Oh, I'm so glad you're here today. How nice of you to join us. I know you got your system a while back, and it's really a pleasure to have you here. Okay, you guys, so you may have heard about the severity of the flu, and if you have your genius at this moment, you may want to pull your genius out and go ahead and have it ready to do some fun things that we can do together. And then Stephen, we don't mention any last names, but Stephen, I'm going to work on you. I know you have some respiratory issues, so we're going to work on that. So we're going to get to that as well. And I know we have a bunch of people queued up that want to be worked on. We'll get to as many as we can. Then join me on Facebook at 12 o'clock on Thursday, 12 o'clock Pacific on Thursday, inside the biofeedback sharing group. So if you haven't had, if you don't know what that Facebook group is, send me an email, Ariel at awakentotalhealth.com. So inside our biofeedback sharing group, we will be doing a live case analysis. So if you want to join us, if you don't get addressed today, then Thursday at noon Pacific time. Okay, and there's that cancer class information. We're going to be talking a little bit more about that. That's 8 weeks starting on February 13th. It's all recorded, and we're going to be doing some really cutting edge biofeedback harmonizing. So I'm going to get to the flu in just a minute, and you may want to jump on there and you may want to jump onto your genius and follow along as we're doing this. So, okay. So, hey, Tracy from Canada, if you want to, maybe we can unmute you and talk to you a bit. I had a wonderful talk with Tracy, and she's going to join us for our next Genius Summit, which is also going to be in February. We got a lot of stuff going on. Tracy, if you're able to unmute yourself, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about the water remedy and really using more water remedies myself in practice. So it's an interesting synchronicity that what Tracy mentioned was that using water for her was the best vehicle because she was having a hypersensitivity to some of the frequencies. And I do think that water delivery is a really, really wonderful way to deliver the frequencies. And the only thing about that is you need a remedy plate. So if you go to my website and type in remedy plate, you can get one for $197. Okay, so I was just trying to get a good article about the flu. But the severity has been pretty bad, and it's kind of ironic that they still have all of the flu vaccines out there, and they're being so ineffective. So we're going to talk about that. So have your genius open and ready to work, and let's see if we can just get Tracy unmuted for a moment here. Welcome, Carrie. Carrie's here. Naomi is here. Warm welcome. Let's see if we can talk to Tracy here. Tracy, are you there? Go ahead and say something, my dear. It looks like your microphone is hot. You're live. Are you there? All right, she's probably talking into the computer and we don't hear her. So wonderful information. We'll have her join us for the summit. And again, so what we're saying is that sometimes people are sensitive to the frequencies. And if that's the case, you'll find that using a remedy plate and putting the frequencies into water will be very, very effective for them. And I'm really enjoying giving this to people as something they can take daily. And once you imprint those frequencies, they will last for 1 to 2 months at least. They will last for a long, long time. So let's see, I'm just really not getting this. Okay, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the flu. All right. Wanted to talk about the type of flu. Let me just see if I can change this here. I'm just having trouble moving this around. All right, so you've probably seen all types of articles out there, but this year's flu season is already the most widespread on record since health officials began keeping track 13 years ago. It has already cost the deaths of more children than what would normally be expected. During the third week of January, more people sought care for flu-like illnesses than at any comparable period in nearly a decade. The Center for Disease and Control and Prevention's most recent weekly report shows that we have terrible things with children. 12,000 people have been hospitalized. The flu activity indicators are notable for the sheer volume and intensity that is taking place in most of the country. Okay, you guys, so when we're considering these things, we want to consider them from a conventional perspective to understand and learn as much as we can, and then we want to consider it from an alternative perspective. What is influencing people? The crazy stuff that's being sprayed in the sky, does that contribute to this? Also, is what's being the funny stuff that's being sprayed in the sky, is that preventing us from getting vitamin D? What other things are causing a mass suppression of the immune system, and what can we do about it? Those are the questions that we want to ask. And we always want to consider these things from an empowerment perspective. You're not disempowered. You're not a victim. You're here because you know that. You know that you're able to take positive action in the face of difficult circumstances. And that's what biofeedback is. It is a positive action and a practical action in the face of difficult circumstances. So then from a biofeedback perspective, sorry, I'm just trying to get some sort of semblance of being able to view both of these at the same time. So then when you're considering what the biofeedback action is, you want to understand the problem from an objective perspective. For example, you want to say, what is the particular strain? And so I was making note of these last night when I was sort of preparing to talk to you about this. And first of all, we see that it's the season, the predominant strain is the nastiest, H3N2. So that's what you want to put into your genius in order to harmonize it. You see, if you can name it, if you can identify it, you can see if there's a frequency within you that resonates with that. And then you can also change it. So you're going to create a frequency called H3N2. I think I made some notes here. Yeah, so we'll get to that in a moment about the mutating surface proteins. Hang on one second. Okay, so that's it. Which causes the worst outbreaks of the 2 influenza A viruses and 2 types of influenza B viruses that circulate among people who are responsible for seasonal flu epidemics each year, probably children and people who are, the elders. Seasons when H3N2 strain dominates are more associated with hospitalizations, more deaths, and more illnesses. Those who are hit particularly hard, or the very young, the elderly, and people with certain chronic health conditions. Of all the viruses we hate, interesting, we could have a whole other conversation about being in harmony with the different viruses and so forth. We never want to have hate for them. We want to embrace them for the lesson that they're learning. We're learning from them, and in as much as we do that, we decrease the incoherence between us and the particular vector. So the more, it's like the Ho'oponopono idea, you know, please forgive me, I am so sorry, thank you, I love you. So we want to be more in harmony, and also biofeedback gives us that. It helps us to be in more harmony with this thing that we're trying to fight, quote, against. We hate H3N2 more than the other ones. The strain, which has been around for 50 years, is able to change more quickly and get around the body's immune system than other viruses targeted in this year's seasonal flu vaccine. Okay, so the CDC estimates that the flu has resulted in between 9.2, that's a staggering number, and 35.6 million illnesses and 12,000 to 56,000 deaths in the United States since 2010. So I submit to you that this is wonderfully preventable, and we're able to deal with this better with biofeedback. Okay, let me just do a couple of things here. So I made a list of some of the things that I want to include. I want to include the strain itself, and then the fact that these are, get this over like this. This is one of the most important concepts, is that the problem is that the surface proteins mutate very, very quickly. And then, so this can be, so then I sort of may name this as my assessment. So this will be like my influenza assessment. Okay, and then over here, I'm going to have my influenza remedies or solutions. So first, I'm going to identify the issue, and then I'm going to identify the solutions, and I'm going to harmonize both of them along with emotions and flower essences. Very, very important. So then I use this, something I haven't talked about in a long time. I want to do another webinar on this. The idea of flu X. So you can use an X, or I call it the mystery flu, when something is mutating very, very quickly and you can't always name it or identify it, or it hasn't been named yet. Another thing I want to make you aware of, a really, really powerful thing for you guys to all build up and take preventively, is something called N-acetylcysteine. And this builds up glutathione, but also clears out a lot of mucus in the body. So I want to have problem and solution, problem and solution. Zinc is another one. I would ask you guys for input, and you can send it in the chat box if you want, but I have to make this kind of quick. Vitamin D, I'll actually expand on this, and I'll make it available for people to get as part of the whole group of panels that are available, because you can get any of my testing libraries on my website, awakentotalhealth.com. Okay, so if you guys have other ideas, you can put them in the chat box. You're welcome to do that and chat any ideas that you have. This is a community effort always. So let me show you how this would go, and then we can kind of riff on this a little bit. And if anybody has the flu, Sherry, I think you said you had the flu, we may go ahead and maybe we can just quickly look at you for a moment. So what I'm going to do, you guys, is I'm going to go up to the navigation bar. So this, Apple, sometimes I don't love you. It's too easy to get things that are on the dock here. That's not what I wanted to do. Anyway, if you go up to the top right here, good, I wanted the highlighter. This is your navigation bar, you guys. This allows you to access the things on the menu. And one of the most powerful parts of your program are the libraries. You can purchase testing libraries, such are listed here from me in different sets, you know, 10, 100, 200. Some people want every panel that I have. I'm working on creating a package for that. So you can get these or you can create your own. To create your own, you go up to the top right and you hit the plus sign. That's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to add a category name right here by tapping there and typing in influenza assessment. Okay, so I name the category and then I save it. As I always say, this is not the most intuitive piece of the program. So then we have it saved here. It's right here, and we're going to tap on it at the left side, not at the right, because that will delete it. That's not what I wanted. It is right here. And then we're going to go and we're going to tap on items, and then we're going to hit cancel. Don't ask me to comment on the sensibility of this. And then we're going to go down to the bottom left and we're going to hit import. It's kind of like finding your way in a maze. But once you get it, you'll get it. It'll be no problem. And what we're going to do here is we're now going to put in that strain, H3N2. And we're going to then make the keyboard go away and we'll hit import now. What does this do? It brings in the holo-linguistic frequency of that particular strain of flu. What in the heck is that? The holo-linguistic is a consciousness frequency. When we say H3N2, it calls in a particular frequency, it calls in a particular consciousness, which can be approximated through this holo-linguistics. Within the holo-linguistics programming, one of the most powerful parts of the program, letters have meaning, words have meaning. These are all very, very powerful. We're able to change our DNA through the power of the word. And the power of the word is incorporated into the biofeedback program so that you can create immensely powerful frequencies through the power of the word. Sounds crazy, but whatever you can think of, you can create within the program. So now we do some more assessment. We want to assess for, is this influenza A? We kind of know that if somebody has this flu this year, it actually is a form of influenza A, which is what they talked about. It is the more virulent one. It is the one they're more concerned about. And they're concerned about it because it mutates so quickly. So the virus is extremely intelligent. And in order to survive, let's also put in B, in order to survive, it actually creates some coping mechanisms, which is the quick mutation means I just spelled that wrong. It means that your body is not able to equilibrate to it very quickly, right? Your immune system starts to react, but then the body, then the virus fights back. It begins to change itself on many levels. So let's go ahead and get that in again. So I won't do everything because I know it's a bit sleepy to watch me create this, but hopefully I can riff a little bit and just talk while this is being created so we can do a little test with it. And I just want to just explain some of these concepts so that you can start thinking about these yourself. You can purchase any of mine and they're great because I've put my naturopathic knowledge into them. But when you're needing to create something on the fly for yourself or for your family, I want you to understand the basics of how to do it. Now, this is one that's really, really powerful. I talked about this in my Creativity and Miracles seminar. And what we do here is we just name it Flu X. So if H3N2 has mutated in the time that we've been talking, then we can address it. What it says is, what Flu X means is that if there is a form of the flu which is affecting you, which cannot be named in any other name that we have mentioned here, that we ask it to step forward and be identified or show itself through the Flu X frequency. So inherently we're saying this flu is something that's affecting you, and that's therefore it would light up. You're in a dysresonance, you have like a stickiness to the frequency, and that's why it lights up. Then we can also do it another way, which is by calling it mystery flu, which is sort of the same as calling it Flu X. It just means that What we want is like a placeholder. We want a placeholder for that which cannot be named so that we can take this placeholder, let it represent the frequency, and then even if we don't have it identified in the lab, we can still address it. So whatever you can address or identify, you can harmonize, and that's the amazing thing about biofeedback. So then we want to do, this is the assessment part. So we're kind of like saying the things that can be identified step forward here. So one thing you can put here is you could put here immune system suppressed. So now you start adding in the understanding of what the particular issue is. Why? If they H3N2, this could almost be a separate panel where you do one thing on the flu and then you do the other thing on the circumstances that it lives in. But let's just do this for now because, you know, 10 people could be exposed to H3N2. How come 3 of them get sick and 7 of them don't? That's what the question that we're kind of asking, right? So then we could do, and I'm not going to do the whole thing, but we could do vitamin D deficiency. Sorry, my spelling, I'm trying to do this with my right hand and I'm left-handed. Okay, there we go. All right, so then we want to just also do the flu piece, which is part of the thing in play is the fact that the surface proteins are mutating so fast. So we'll get that in there. And then we'll see who has the flu, who's on here. If Sherry, if you have the flu or anybody has the flu or if your kid has the flu, if you can send me name and date of birth down in the chat area, and I'm going to try to find it amongst many. So we do want to do one more here, and this is mutating surface proteins. Now, when you're creating a panel, it's really better if you have at least 10 or 15 items within the panel because you want enough pieces to throw out there to sort of have a full spectrum of probability. So just having 2 items, you're not going to get as good a reading in terms of the scoring as you're going to get with 10 or 15 items for the program to look at. I'm probably not going to be explaining that very well, but just suffice to say, you want larger populations to test from on an individual panel than less. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is sort of a minimum, like 15 would really be better. Okay, and then, so let's add that to our current client. And then we do another one. So now you're going to see it again. You go up to the top right and you hit the plus sign and then you put in the category name, which is going to be influenza treatment. No, not treatment. Treatment is what I don't want to say. So I use the word solutions. The reason I do that is because you want to be careful that you as a not medical professional don't say that you're treating. You're providing solutions. You're not providing medical treatment. Okay, so let's do that import thing again. And here we start naming the solutions. So I'm just going to abbreviate for time. This is going to be NAC. That's commonly known in naturopathic medicine to be N-acetylcysteine. And that is a mucolytic. It helps to clear the mucus from the system. Okay, let's see some of your comments while I'm doing this. I think you guys have a lot of comments in here. So can I pop this out? All right. Get down to the bottom. Okay, good. Okay, Sherry, you got your information in there. All right. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this in here, and then we'll get the zinc. you guys, there could be a plethora of remedies, okay? So really, there could be a million remedies. We're just trying to spitball it, and we're just trying to get as many in here. But one thing that you can do with the flu is the homeopathic flu, which is, I'm not sure if they matched the strain this year, but it's called oscillococcinum. So now that's really, used to be one thing about a nature, and you can spot a naturopath because they actually know how to spell this without looking. So oscillococcinum is homeopathic flu. The best one I found is from the company Boron, which is B-O-I, Boron, B-O-I-R-O-N. Sorry, I'm putting it down in the chat. And there's another company that makes, like, literally just says homeopathic flu, I think, or flu remedy or something. That's a really good one, you guys, because it is homeopathic. And I've actually had the flu onset where you get the achy bones and everything. And it's gone within like 30 minutes. It's bizarre. So that the first onset, you start taking these sugar pills like every hour, and I've just been blown away at the times it's actually worked for me. Really avoided getting a full-blown flu from doing that. So then you just put in your remedies. There's lots of other remedies that we could name. Just in general, really, really good. There's so many things for colds and flu. Of course, elderberry is amazing. We won't, we're not going to name all of them. This could be a whole course on them, but I'm just trying to get some other things up here. And of course, hot and cold, hydrotherapy, warming socks treatment. If you don't know what that is, send me an email and I'll send you the description of warming socks treatment. This is where you do a series of, take a nice hot bath. You take two types of socks, cotton and wool, and then the cotton socks get a very, very cold dip, and you actually put those socks on before you go to bed. And then on top of those socks, you put the thickest wool socks, which are not wet, and you get them on your body, and then you get into the warmest bed that you can so you don't get chilled. When you wake up in the morning, you'll feel like a different person. Helps to move the blood powerfully within the body. So let's just do something very easy here. So that's the deal. Then we just want to test this very, very quickly, see if we can, sorry, there we go. So while I'm doing this and getting this set up, I just want to tell you guys about the cancer series that's coming up, and then we're going to test Sherry, who's had the flu for a little while here, and see if we can help her. So you guys, the cancer class is coming up on February 13th. It is going to be a series of 8 classes. They're going to be 1 hour each on Tuesday nights at 5 o'clock Pacific. I need to just take this offline for one moment so I can do this. And they're going to be talking about how to prevent cancer and how to harmonize it with biofeedback. So if you're looking for very specific strategies and protocols, as well as testing libraries, this would be a very good class. The class is going to be 100% recorded, and I'm just trying to get Sherry's information here. The class is going to be 100% recorded, and it'll be available for your download, or you can join us live for the class. It'll be live on Tuesday nights. This is a really important class because you meet so many people who have cancer, or somebody in your family may have cancer, or you may have cancer. So what do you do about it? We really need to talk about what cancer is and what it is not. That's a really important discussion, you guys. Cancer is not a death sentence. Cancer is a lot of groupthink, what we think it is. We all have cancers in the body. We all heal them every single day. as we allow ourselves to rest and relax and take good care of ourselves. Cancer is also a completely dealable condition, and it holds a great amount of potential for biofeedback to intervene, both to identify what's going on at the time, but to actually jump in there and do something about it. It's also a method of prevention because you can screen people for the energetic cancer, for the potential of cancer. Now, we'd never call that a diagnosis, really don't call it a screening exam per se, but it does allow you to see where you are in space and time. We have one of our users uses this to test herself on a regular basis. She is a cancer survivor. And so what she does is she checks herself from time to time to see if the energy of cancer is starting to return. And then she does a very focused time when she's doing all of her preventive measures. So what she's doing is doing lots of iodine or doing lots of ozone or really taking care of herself until she sees the energetic cancer indications begin to retreat. So we have a lot to talk about, and then we want to talk about some of the cutting edge therapies, but how to really use the genius for helping people to heal that frequency of cancer. We never say it's a cancer cure. We're always working on the energetic level and working on frequency. That said, this is going to be a very powerful class. You will receive very powerful testing libraries in the class. And those of you who've taken my classes before, these are going to be updated and upgraded. So I think you're going to find them very, very fascinating and very, very practical in terms of what we're facing today in the world. So definitely check that class out. There's a $400 special discount until February 5th for those who want to jump in early. There's also a payment plan if you want to do a monthly of $97. There's an extra payment there. So it would, instead of it's 7 payments of $97 instead of the $597 special, which is $600. You do one extra payment if you want to do a monthly financing, and that's totally fine. So you could do $97 a month if you want. Okay, I put Sherry's information in, and let's go ahead and test her. She says she's actually had the flu A plus pneumonia for 3 days. Goodness gracious. I'm so sorry, Sherry, to hear this. I'm glad that you're back on with us and that you're okay. I think I noticed that you weren't there with us for a couple of weeks. This is influenza B. So what we're seeing is that the immune system is suppressed. There's a vitamin D deficiency. This flu X steps forward. Let's see what's on the lower part here. Wow, you guys, can you make that stuff up? So Sherry, this says, we want to take a picture of that one. This says that, yeah, the H3N2 is resonating really, really powerfully. We just need to have that drop out there. Okay, so there's that at 12. And then there's the influenza A stepping forward. So this says it's identified. So that's a good one. Wow, thanks for volunteering. I also want you to get better fast. So those are pretty cool. And then we can see the mitigating circumstances here, that the immune system was suppressed and there was a vitamin D deficiency. So there's a lot of question as to whether what's going on with our skies these days is actually blocking a significant amount of vitamin D from getting through. Of course, we just, don't spend enough time in the sun to begin with. Okay, so this says that elderberry could be very, very powerful, and vitamin D. Well, what a surprise. She's vitamin D deficient. There's vitamin D as being a remedy. Zinc for improving the immune system. So none of the other remedies really resonated. We could have done a lot more here. Now remember, when you're dealing with the flu, the original work of Edward Bach or Batch was to work with the flu itself. He actually helped people who had acute illnesses by using several different remedies during the day when they were acutely ill. So just working on the flower essences could be really, really powerful. All right, so I'll talk more about the water for solutions piece. What this means is that you're actually, instead of giving the energy by frequency, by having them listen to it or sending it to them, which those are all powerful and you could do them anyway, is to actually transfer the frequency into water through the remedy plate. And this becomes their remedy. And in fact, even if you do a long distance treatment, you can send them a priority mail package where you put their remedy bottle in foil and bubble wrap and send that to them. So the frequencies will stay really, really nicely through all of the scanning as it travels if you put it in foil. So that's why the foil is, or you wrap it up so the foil protects the frequencies. Okay, so it's really interesting that for her, there's two flower essences and then elderberry that comes up at the top here. And then zinc, flu, those are the top ones. So let's look at those for a moment. So let's just select these top ones for a second here, and maybe these two here. And let's play these frequencies. So that's what I would recommend you guys. I think that could be really, really great for flu in general. So that's a great approach. And it also talks about like how to create custom libraries for these acute issues. So you want to do that so that you can really help other people. You want to learn to utilize either my testing libraries that I've created for my naturopathic knowledge, or become proficient at creating your own as well. So honeysuckle, those who live much in the past, perhaps a time of great happiness, or memories of lost friend, or ambitions that have not come true. They do not expect further happiness such as they have had. Key words: homesickness, nostalgia, bereavement. Human indication for over-attachment to past remedies, good or bad, memories, good or bad, can't let go of the past, homesickness. All right, so what I say to people is there might be a tiny, tiny bit of this that applies to you. Try to see what is the piece that applies to you. If nothing applies here, just toss the remedy out. So that's honeysuckle. Gorse is very great hopelessness. They've given up belief that more can be done for them. Under persuasion or to please others, they may try different treatments at the same time, assuring those around them that there is so little hope of relief. Hopelessness, despair, pessimism. When you have the feeling of extreme hopelessness and despair. Now, I don't necessarily associate Sherry, as I know her, with feelings of hopelessness, but this flu and being hospitalized might have reflexively and quite logically given her a feeling of hopelessness. So who wouldn't, feel that in the face of these difficult circumstances and dealing with something where you have a fairly intense illness? So, very, very interesting. But what these Bach flower essences are, they're like, it's like you're a puzzle, right? And that's not maybe a good analogy. So you're in this energetic state, and this energetic state can be unlocked or relieved through these particular frequencies of emotions. So it's like unlocking these stuck emotions through the flower essences also corrects the physical illness. And that's why he would give people these drops while they were actually fighting a physical illness that work on the emotional body. So they're very, very powerful. You can just run them as frequency like we're doing now, or you could actually write these down and you could create a separate remedy just based on the flower essences. So just remember gorse and honeysuckle. I'm just trying to see. Wild rose was one that's sort of medium. I like to use the top three. We're going to go to the aura section in a minute, but I want to show you what that would look like. Let me just find wild rose for a second here. Just trying to navigate here around us a little bit. So there's wild rose, and there's rock water, but wild rose. Why is it not here? Reading the wrong remedy. Okay, just hang on, you guys, and then I'll take more questions. Hang on, almost got it. Okay, wild rose. Those who who without apparently sufficient reason have become resigned to all that happens and just glide through life, take it as it is, without any effort to improve things and find some joy. They have surrendered to the struggle of life without complaint. Apathy, resignation, lost motivation. So what I say to the person is there any little part of this, that resonates for you? Find that little part that might resonate for you. And for everybody who's here and who's hearing that and going, oh, that's interesting. Remember, this is about you too, because we're also like in a group here. So group consciousness is really powerful as well. So reading the meaning of the remedy to the client is really important, because that also helps them to release the energy when they recognize the piece of themselves and they understand. The cognitive understanding piece is an integral part of the biofeedback experience. It's really great if you help the person. You don't just send them the frequencies like an automaton. It's really good to communicate your findings in an intelligent way that does not say it's a diagnosis, but yet just shares with them your own personal observations. And I apologize, I don't know why this isn't more dang intuitive here, but I wanted to just do a begin analysis on the aura to see what the aura was doing, what it looked like here. And then I wanted to show you how to add those 3 remedies to the quick zap and to create a water remedy just from the flower essences. So looking good, looking good. I didn't do a total before, but I would say that some of the illness in the energy field is right here and a little bit up here. So there's sort of a little bit of a gray and density is usually what you're looking for, where things look more like a pea soup. They look more cloudy than crisp and clear. It is a little bit subjective, so bring your intuitive understanding into it as well. So now what we do is we go back to the flower essences, which is under emotions, if I would just think about that, sorry, under the mind. So here, and then what we do is we go, we go back to the ones that came up for her. So it was wild rose, and I think it was gorse, and honeysuckle, right? So we get honeysuckle up here in the quick zap. We get must be down at the bottom, I'm assuming we get gorse there up in the quick zap. So those were the 3 that came up for her. And then we connect, I'll try to get the camera set up in the future so we can do that part of it as well. And then you can see what I'm doing. So let me just do this. And what we do is we then connect the remedy plate with the water bottle. The water bottle can be a tincture top, or it can be a spray top where they can use a 1 or 2 ounce spray and just mist the remedy onto themselves, onto the skin. So if they don't like to take the remedy, then they can just mist it onto their body. So that's another vehicle. The application of remedies to the skin, like iodine, is actually quite powerful. So not everything has to be taken by mouth. So we do that. So that's the deal. Sherry, I hope you start to feel 100% better. And I'm going to send you lots of love. Everybody send Sherry some love and healing energy. The experience was very dark, mostly the pneumonia. Pneumonia is no fun. I mean, when your lungs feel filled up, I know, because I always get a bad bronchitis every couple of years. It is pretty depressing. Interesting that I show that I'm still resonant as it went away 2 weeks ago. Thoughts on that? Okay, so it's still in your field. You're still working out the energies of it. So yeah, this class is recorded and it'll be on my website, awakentotalhealth.com. All right, so Sherry, you did ask a question, grapefruit seed extract for inflammation. Not for inflammation, but for mycoplasma. So that would be another one to check for your lungs, mycoplasma. And that could have been many of these infections are staying dormant because they're in check by the immune system. However, at some point, if your immune system becomes deeply depressed for emotional reasons or physical reasons, then these infections can emerge. So it's really important to always be working on your immune system. Always be thinking about rotation of remedies that are really good for prevention to protect the immune system. Let's do one check here on the aura, and then we'll move on. So she says she fully recovered 2 weeks ago, but you can see that this is actually still in the energetic field based on what we were testing for. So, I would not think that, I wouldn't be, and you're not complacent, but just say random patient A over here. I would not be complacent at this time. I would really be fortifying, all of my reserves, and I'm sure you're doing that anyway. Okay, so wonderful, wonderful movement here. Lots of great receiving of the flower essences into the field. And almost none of that gray energy is here anymore. You guys, this also just shows how fast the energy can move. So sometimes we think like, oh, this is really hard and I gotta do a lot. But sometimes the energy just, moves right in. You don't need a really long session. Really don't need your session to be longer than 10 to 15 minutes, but it's totally up to you. If you want to run it longer, you can. So let's now get Stephen's information in here. We don't have a really long time, but I'll probably go a little bit past the hour. So you guys, if you're thinking about getting your system, I've got a couple of bonuses for you if you purchase before Friday. So be sure that you contact me, Ariel at awakentotalhealth.com. I've got some bonus testing libraries for you and some bonuses like the water harmonizer and our Rife program. So be sure that you contact me. The mitochondrial rejuvenation program will be available as a bonus this week, as well as a couple of other really great things. So Ariel at Awaken Total Health, if you're thinking about getting your system this week, be sure to get in touch with me right away. We do have the special that'll run until Friday. All right, so let's go back, take this offline for a second. Remember the cancer class. I'm going to have more information in this week's newsletter for you about the cancer class, and there is a special that'll run until February 5th. Definitely recommend Andreas Moritz's book about cancer, which is Cancer as a Healing Mechanism, and that's where we're going to be drawing some of the information from that class. It really tells you about the truth about cancer, that cancer is fully preventable. And I'm just getting Stephen's information here now to the Genius. So that's really an important class for anyone who wants to use the Genius to deal with cancer. Definitely, look into the description on this class. I'll be sending out some more information about it. There is an early discount. You can even do a monthly plan if you want to. So that's something you could definitely email me about and talk to me about. So let's see if Stephen is actually on the call here. Maybe we can get his voice recording. I can put this back up over here. So a lot of people have been asking for the cancer class for a while. We're also going to talk about GC-MOF and the upshot of vaccinations and what vaccinations have done to disable the GC-MOF in the system and how that affects something called Nagalese. So really got some cutting edge information, really, really important information. You guys don't miss out on that class, because I always say whatever cures cancer is also important for you to know about as a wellness practice or preventative. So there are certain things that stabilize cell mutation. Why do you want to wait until cancer before you stabilize cell mutation? You want to do that now. You want to know what the most powerful cures are so that you can start taking advantage of them for yourself. This is really, really important. Let's just see if Stephen is with us. If not, we'll just move right along. Okay, I don't actually see him on. I thought I did see him at the top of the hour, but maybe we lost him halfway through there. He's dealing with some respiratory issues, so let's go ahead and see what's going on here. And we just brought up his information. So let's go ahead and do an analysis. Okay, so let's see if we had any other questions here. We have a bunch of people volunteering, and definitely come back. Come to the Thursday class. Come to the Facebook group. Shoot me an email, you guys. I love talking to you. So go to awakentotalhealth.com. If you don't have my email, then just hit the contact us button. Let's go ahead and just look at that for a second. And then we're going to look all at what's going on with Stephen and his respiratory. He has some trouble breathing. So we want to get some good relief going for him. And we'll take a look at his aura right off the bat and see what's going on with that. So let's go ahead and get that aura in here. And then I just wanted to introduce you guys to my website. There we go. So you guys, I've been teaching about the Genius for a long time. Go to my website, you can read more about the Genius, you can read about special offers for this week, but then go down here and just shoot me a message, okay? Now my throat's getting irritated thinking about his respiratory issues. Okay. So just send me a message, ask me about the cancer class, or ask me about the influenza panels, or anything you want to, and I get back to those. It's actually better to email me or send me a message than to call me. But if you do want to call back, just put your phone number and I'll call you back. Okay, so Stephen, something going on up here. Okay, so there's some real gray right here. Gray and density. Now this looks pretty good. I wonder if Karen maybe has been working on you a bit. This looks pretty good. This looks pretty good, but something up here that we want to clear all the way up into here. Okay, now I'm going to start coughing, I can tell. Hopefully I can get through the rest of the class. Okay, let's take a picture of that. And then let's go to the basics. So what I like to start off with is you go into the body and you look at today's stress. Is it my imagination or do those icons get larger? Okay, blood sugar. So something going on with blood sugar. So when this is just the investigation phase, you guys, when you get in here and you think, oh my God, what do I do? Guys, if you don't know what to do, you're not a doctor, you're not a nutritionist, you don't know what to do, come right down here. All you have to do is hit the scan. We don't even have to do this. And you don't do anything else. You don't do one other thing. You go down here and you just touch the quick balance. And it will automatically choose every red and every blue in the entire program and begin to balance you. You do not need to know anything except how to tap that button, the quick balance button. So I like to do other things, so I like to get more precise. I like to look at specific things. I like to have that cognitive awareness for the client. But if you do not know what to do, you just got your Genius, you just downloaded the trial, you go into System Overview, you hit the Begin Analysis, and then the other red button at the bottom is the quick balance, and that's all you do. And you will be already harmonizing yourself in a very powerful way. Now for Stephen, we go to today's stress. As I said, he's got some probably food sensitivity, some underlying infection, which could be, maybe it's not asthma, maybe it's a chronic infection. He's got chronic underlying inflammation. We assume it's chronic because it doesn't seem like it's acute. Maybe a fungus in the lungs, some emotional issue. Nutritional is often either they're not eating the right food or they're not digesting it correctly. Okay, some hormonal issues. We know that he's over 40, so probably some andropause issues for men, some lymphatic stuff. So let's go back here. Then disease always starts in the digestive tract. So what does he have going on with his digestion? Let's take a quick look. So pancreatic insufficiency, this does seem to have some relationship to the respiratory system. So improving the enzyme function could possibly improve. Is Dale with us today? Let's see if Dale is on. Hey, Dale. Dale's our resident enzyme expert in the class. So hopefully we can get maybe some podcast time with Dale. That'd probably be a good vehicle. And talk to him about, he's an expert in the Kelly enzyme system for healing. It'd be good to get him in the loop and find out more about what he has to say about the pancreas and enzymes. Okay, so there we go. So we have like an overall analysis, right? Even body systems, you guys could put this up as the top 3, right? Today's stress, digestion, and body systems. You guys, even if you don't know anything about health, you have, you know, they say like the common sense, God gave a green apple. Just ask yourself, how do these things fit together? Okay, he's got muscular and skeletal stuff, lymphatic and immune. You see the echo or the repetitiveness of the immune system and the lymphatic system. So it looks like he has something going on with his immune system, which may be the root cause or the reason that he's having this respiratory issue. The weird thing is we really didn't see the respiratory system come up that much, which tells us, you know, a couple of things, like maybe that's not what the core root issue is. Maybe it's not active at this time. But also use the person who's coming to you. Ask them lots of questions. They often reveal the problem to you. You know, they often tell you what the reason is. And it's, you know, we talk about horses versus zebras. Let's go to our custom libraries here. Sorry, it's often more the obvious thing than it is the mystery thing. So, oh, well, somehow I only added that. So let's just go here. Libraries, I want to add all of these. I thought I already did this. And go back here. Oh, please tell me they're now added. Okay, so we want to just go to those respiratory panels and see what's going on. All right, so this is going to take just a second to switch. All right, so let's go to respiratory. And it's interesting, I was working with this the other day. We did this on the Facebook Live with Mary O'Halloran from Ireland. So last week, Thursday at noon, if you would join the Facebook group, for the Facebook group link, go ahead and send me an email message so I can get you hooked into our Facebook group. That's our biofeedback sharing group. We talked about, we actually did live on the air, we did this miasm panel. So in the Facebook Live, we have people on with us that we talk to and find out what's going on in the community. So this says for him, he needs to strengthen the lung lobes. And there are different breathing practices. And there's also a mask that you can get that causes resistance. And it causes you to strengthen your lungs by breathing through the mask. And this says use tuberculinum 1M. So, Karen, I think this is something to pursue with Stephen. We can meet with him separately, something to think about. That tuberculinum is like this ancestral predisposing factor, the tuberculinic miasm. It's like the certain people were, their ancestors had tuberculosis and it was passed down through cellular memory. And so people who have the tuberculinic miasm are more susceptible to respiratory issues. And so what we're doing is we're drilling down root cause and we're clearing the root cause. We're clearing the ancestral reason. We're clearing the cellular memory from the DNA. And so in doing so, we take away one of the weakness factors that makes this person more susceptible than other people to lung issues. So we could see what's going on with the anatomy of the lung. You guys, I am going to run a little bit over time, so if you need to hop off to go to your top of the hour appointment, I totally understand it, and we'll catch you on the recording, which will be posted to the website under Genius Training sometime today. And then we've got all of the stuff going on with his lungs. So he's got something going on in the right and the left lung, especially the right lung. So the reason we do this is we're identifying the places where there's disharmony and discord, and then we're going to be able to send energy to these places by harmonizing them. Anything you can identify, any frequency that can be identified, any part of the problem that can be recognized, you can do something about it. So then we have here, let's just look at the solution since that came up in red, and I know we're going to run tight for time. So here's some remedies for him. And cayenne, usnea. Usnea would suggest a fungal infection. myrrh, golden seal, ginger, yerba santa. Good for lungs. Okay, but let's see what is going on with the underlying issue. Is there some type of an infection? We know this is asthma, so that wouldn't really be necessarily. Now, the histamine excess could be from food, ferments that he's eating. It does say that there's a mold piece here. Histamine could also be high because maybe he's having that high asthma issue right now. So it could be, it's hard to say if it's the chicken or the eggs. A wound caught in the lung, so an emotional wound. Heavy metal fibers that comes from the suspicious sprayings in the sky. Interference field, rejection affecting physical health. So that's really important to know, you guys. People come in and they're physical, physical, physical. It's all physical, it's all physical, it's all physical. And then you test them for the emotions and all of these wounds come up. So it's important to recognize that. Okay, so we don't have an asthma panel. That's something I do need to develop. But we're starting to get the idea, and we still have enough information that we can move on to harmonizing. So let's go back and let's get some flower essences in the mix and see if they start to tell more of the story, right? I mean, an illness is all about, or, a deviation from your natural state of being, which is true health, is always a story waiting to be told, right? And you're asking here, we're sort of using the genius as like the surrogate, which tells the story. If the person can't tell the story, they do it through the genius, right? The genius tells their story, and then we feed it back to them and we bring it to their conscious awareness, which begins to decrease the reactivity, right? Reds and blues, high and low numbers are places of reactivity, discord. This is the place where the person's weak spots are identified. Well, some of the concerns that this may come from the suspicious spraying in the sky is actually maybe spot on. So cayenne, something to do with balancing the blood sugar. So definitely improving the digestion will improve this lung condition. Muscular issues, myrrh would be an essential oil that would be good. Breathing exercises to strengthen, removing any sort of mold exposure. And again, mold is the problem. Usnea is the solution. It's used for fungal infections, the old man's beard. So then we run maybe a couple of minutes of frequency here. So we've kind of gotten the gist, although we didn't see any. Did I include the flower essences? Boy, hardly any flower essences came up at the top, meaning that it's very likely. Did I put them in the tray? God, that's amazing. Meaning that in this particular instance, maybe the flower essences will not have a high affinity for him in this healing. That may just not be his ballywick, may just not be the thing for him. They really didn't even come up in the top like 10 there. Okay, Mary Lou, thank you. Mary Lou says, an anti-inflammatory is turmeric. It's an excellent anti-inflammatory. Thank you so much. Carrie says she'd love to learn more about the pancreatic enzyme. So Dale, we better get on that and create a little podcast recording for people and put it out to the group. Let's see. Andreas, Rita, the author is Andreas Moritz. He's written a great book about cancer called Cancer is a Survival Mechanism, and I know you'll really enjoy that. We're going to talk about that in the class. As Sherry said, thanks for the work today. I'm still lower energy, not up to the norm. And I think that's where the frequencies were coming through, Sherry. But I am glad that you've turned the corner on those physical. That's very, very tough to deal with. You might want to mention not let a homeopathic be scanned when bought in a store. Yeah, that's a good one. Don't let them put it on the little laser scanner. You know, that's a topic for a whole other discussion about whether scanning your food in the, everything's being scanned now. Well, when you scan it, you run over that little thing that saves the grocery store so much time. You actually imbue a frequency into it. And I'm looking back into some green lasers. You probably could just get a green pen laser, you guys. I was just going to look around for a good quality one to recommend. And you can run that green laser over your food to what you're asking it to do is clear the frequency. You can also, there's lots of other things. We have a Memon plate that you can use to raise the frequency of the food. that we'll be doing a Memon webinar soon talking about Memon. But just be aware of that. So don't let them scan any of your food. I have a co-op close by, and I love the co-op because they don't have any scanners in there. It's like the old-time grocery store. We're going to be finishing up here in a second, you guys. I'm grateful that I've had the opportunity to work with Steve. Let's see what his let's see what this looks like here. So there's that gray piece that we were just looking at. So let's see. So you guys be sure to go to the website awakentotalhealth.com, hit the contact us so you can be connected to the Facebook group, and join me on Thursday at 12 o'clock. We'll be doing some live sessions. You can volunteer and watch us work on sessions there. So what this is what's happening here is we're starting to get into, like, there's like some very livery colors. We're starting to really move through stuff and starting to push stuff through. And if we did this for longer, we'd start to see the blues and purples move in. So this is good for just a couple of minutes of balancing, or harmonizing is the better term. So so there's the first one. So he's starting to get into the goo of it all and starting to work through stuff. And we'll see this begin to change and get into the higher vibrational colors. So definitely join me on Thursday, you guys. I'll be back next week. You know, same live and in person next week, same time. If you're registered today, you will automatically get a notification for next week, and you can join us as many weeks as you want to. I really recommend that you come back as often as you can to the program, to this class, so you can learn more about the genius and keep up with the momentum of the community. So we'll be back next week. We'll be on Facebook Live on Thursday, and we'll talk more about all of these next week. Take care, everyone. Be well. Have a great week, everyone. Bye-bye for now.